What's up, everybody? This is Cha Cha Mystique, and you now tune into Live at Radio. Today, we have a very special guest, Karen Joy, in the building. Hip hop celebrity, manager, and author. She has an amazing book, and we're going to dissect the juicy book, Diary of a Pimp's Wife. Okay, you hear that? So you already know it's about to get a little spicy up in here. But before we do that, I'm gonna give you a moment to go get your popcorn, roll that blunt, get your little drink, and we'll be right back with it though. Let's get it.
And I hear him say, and I hear him say, and I hear him say, I hear him say, and I hear him say, when it should be said, yeah.
Disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. So strikers, no strike me.
Yes, strikers, no strike me with your hating ass. Now, without any further ado, Miss Karen Joy in the building.
Hey, thanks for having me, Cha Cha.
Thank you for pulling up. I am so honored. I'm so honored and blessed to have you today. We got so much to talk about. Diary of a Pimp's Wife and your career. But I kind of want to get a little background on you. You know, where did it all start? Who is Karen Joy and where you come from?
Well, I was born in Manhattan and I was raised in the Bronx, where the Boogie Down Bronx, where all of this hip hop stuff started. I did a little bit of dibbling and dabbling back in the day, and I worked the doors with Africa Bambaataa in them, and I was in the parks when they was doing it in the dark. And fast forward to today, I'm still working with celebrity hip hop artists. I've done everything from manage them to help them broker deals with their record deals and stuff like that. And I do a little bit of stuff with Mr. Cheeks. As you can see, we have a book together. And I work, with quite a few of the hip hop artists that started in the 90s, the old school ones, you would say.
Yeah, and we definitely gonna get to that because your Instagram is lit. I love your throwback pictures, and what I love most about your throwback pictures is that it looks like there's such a credible story behind them. So I kind of want to dissect your Instagram on live and get a little throwback stories. But before we do that, you said you grew up and you was around the early ages of hip hop, and hip hop is celebrating its 50th year. Now, since you are definitely a veteran in the game, can you give some insight of all the evolutions, all the different stages of hip hop you encountered, and what do you say about it after these 50 years?
Well, I say hip hop went through a lot of stages. In the beginning, it was all about the art. They call it MCing, and they did their break dancing, and everything was just about the enjoyment. And back then we didn't have computers and stuff, so we were in the streets, and it was about the music and DJing in the parks and just having fun. Now today, economically, it's grown tremendously. They didn't make the money. The artists back then, the deals wasn't structured like they are today. Today, the artists are I would say billionaires, and even if you look at Jay-Z, billionaires. So I'm so glad that it was an art form that allowed them to advance economically and take it. Some people, they didn't have the opportunity to have jobs and be able to go into the corporate world, and they was able to use their talents. So fast forward to this 50th anniversary, and here we are.
Oh, here we are strong. I'm so proud of hip hop. I am hip hop. You know how people be like, well, I'm black, I'm Puerto Rican, I'm Haitian, whatever. No, I'm hip hop. Thank you very much. It's in my blood, and I love the culture so much. And yeah, so we're dealing with your background and your book. Your book is very provocative. I haven't read all the way through it because of the time frame, but what I've read so much is like, oh my God. So what was it in your background that was able for you to identify with certain things and make you brave enough to even write this book? Because the book is about you, right?
It is, it is. And I'm honored that you got the opportunity to read it. A lot of people that I've spoken with, that I've done interviews with, they didn't have the opportunity to read it beforehand.
Well, I didn't read it all. I'm almost there, but yeah.
That's fine. You want to know, actually, I was in the trenches. It was kind of, if read the beginning, I met the Pimp, let's just say, at the time, and he was producing music. He was into the industry, and I was into the industry in terms of management. And we was managing an artist named Computer that was on Select Records at the time. And Mr. Cheeks was brought in to do a feature. They did a song called Itty Bitty Hustlers, and we collaborated there, and we all started working together. And then the lines got a little blurred because, as you know, that adult entertainment is still a form of entertainment. So the guys started working with girls, managing them, and then it just, went a little to the left. And he became a pimp. You would have to read more in the book to get more details, but that's basically, how it started.
Yeah, I'm gonna try my best not to have you give away so much because I want people to get the book. Please, you guys, get the book. Go to her social media pages. Is in Amazon. Is on Barnes and Noble's website. You could get the paperback as well as the digital version for Kindle. Yeah. So, without giving too much, what was it like? What was going through your mind? Because I know things were being revealed. You know what I'm saying? Things
Right.
that a wife wouldn't normally accept in their relationship. So what was it? How was you able to grit your teeth and okay certain things or be okay with certain things? Dealing with a husband for a pimp.
Well, actually, he wasn't my actual husband. He was a like slash business partner, and he was common law since I was with him so long. That's why he got the title. That's why I put the title, structured it that way. It was more of a common law situation.
So
And
what's the difference between, for those that may not know, what's the difference between a common law husband and a actual husband?
well, there was no paperwork, no actual paperwork drawn up. It's just common law. Is after you spent a certain amount of time. I believe it's like 5 years or so. If you've lived with someone that that long, I believe you can adapt the title of a common law, you know, wife or husband. But you asked
Yeah, how did you get your teeth to be able to accept certain things? Because I know you saw and heard and had to deal with a lot, but without giving too much away from the book, can you explain, the things that you had to do to cope with being in that circumstance?
I think at a certain points, it was so much things happening, and I was so concerned with the young ladies. Like I was always, if you without giving too much away in the like you said of the book, I was always into like I was a professional businesswoman, so I'm dealing with the business aspects of things, and he is pretty much in pursuit of a prostitute. So after a while, I got numb to the situation in terms of who he was and who he was becoming, and really just focused on me trying to develop my business situations and elevate in that area. So for the most part, I kind of started pushing him aside. But the reason why I was still in the trenches as far as the young ladies was concerned is I started seeing all of the perilous lifestyle that they was living, and they were so young and they were being taken advantage of. So I thought I was in there trying to actually help them and redirect them and guide them back into society so that they could get away from the things that they were up against. So that's what kept me involved with them. Him, you would just have to read how the things that we went through in the book.
Yeah,
Yeah.
juicy, spicy stuff. Yeah, that's why I had to, to ask. So, we're living in today where sex work is, I don't want to say being glorified, but I guess more accepted. You're starting to see the country come to terms to legalize adult entertainment or adult prostitution, as well as talks of unions and certain things to keep sex work out there active and I guess safe, so to speak. So, what do you say to the evolution of sex work, and where do you want to see it in the future? Do you think it's still um, um, do you think it's a thing where society will accept it as a norm, or is still going to be a thing of taboo?
Um, they say it's a thing of taboo, but as we do know, it is the oldest profession in the world, and only the less lucrative players in the game do they look down upon and call it taboo. Because if you think about it, it's a multi-billion-dollar business. Everyone from the networks make money off of them. The government makes money off of them because they pass through licensing to these strip clubs. So everybody is actually making money. It's just, to me, it's just another form of pimping, because everybody's taking advantage of these poor young ladies. That's the lowest on the totem pole as far as the financial aspect. And they're up against the most danger, and they're not even capitalizing like you would think. They make it look like they make it, it's being rained on them, as you would call it, when they throw the dollars on them in the club, but they're not making half the money that the government is making, or the movies, the movies are making, the adult entertainment movies are making. So I think it's going to continue. Like I said, it's the oldest profession in the world. It's been going on. It's going to continue to go on. And the most that I can say is try to spread awareness to the young ladies and help educate them so that they're not in as much danger, or they take advantage of it and they rise to another level with
Yes. And I totally agree. People like to, throw shame on it so much, but these are the same people who indulge in these things as well. You know what I'm saying?
it.
The whole industry, you can't, disdain one thing, but then, invest and entertain and participate in another thing is hypocritical. Uh, I hope they find a safer way for the ladies out there. But let me ask you, because there's always an ongoing man versus woman debate out there. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Do you think sex work or adult entertainment is conducive to the ideal of what a woman should be, or live her life? How do you feel about that, especially dealing with relationships, since you were in one? Do you feel like adult entertainment is healthy for marriage or long-term relationships, especially moving forward in the future?
I think it's between two partners in terms of how they want to live their life and what they want to allow. And people have open relationships. You know, I couldn't really speak to other people and how they feel about how they want to, run their circumstances and what makes them happy and what they want to let into their bedroom and into their home. So I guess it would be up to the two individuals. And as long as they discuss it ahead of time and they figure out what's going, nobody is sneaking and nobody's sneaking and everybody is on board with what's going on. I think, I can't speak to what they should or shouldn't do. It's between the two couples or the two individuals.
Yeah. But I think realistically, because let's keep it real, we get jealous as women, we get jealous, and you hear a lot of people talk about either, having threesomes and polyamorous relationships, and having people in their relationships, inviting people in and stuff like that. And I think a lot of those stories end up in like pain. A lot of people end up in pain. Do you think, even though relationships, you can be open and set certain rules, do you think that kind of thing still breeds some type of level of betrayal or jealousy within the relationship after a while? Because let's keep it real, all women want to be the only one. How do you feel about that?
Uh, I really do think it's really up to the individuals because, like I said, I know both sides. Like I, dealing with these young ladies, and they live a whole different lifestyle, and they look at things differently. When you're talking about a square relationship, yes, square people they see things one way, but when you're talking about that type of adult entertainers and stuff like that, a lot of them they have a different focus. Like maybe their focus is money, or so their energy is different, and they don't look at men the same. Like some women, they can only sleep with one man or whatever. Look at these women. They go out and they sleep with men after men, even whether they have a pimp or not. And they just look at the economical aspect of it. And, they're not jealous. And, it's different when you're talking square versus whatever they call themselves. So,
Yeah, and you talk about your experience, about your ordeal at that time. How did you find the courage to be so transparent about that time of your life? What was the motivation?
well, to me, I was thinking of it as it's bigger than me. This book and what I'm trying to, you know, I'm trying to spread awareness, and the topic is bigger than me. So I was being very transparent, but I wanted to get out there and I want to help these young ladies that's in the street. Can you hear me? Okay. I just want to help the young ladies that's out there. I want them to know it's a dangerous lifestyle. A lot of them end up just like drug dealers in jail, addicted, or dead. So when I thought about what was actually going on with them, then I said I had to put everything inside of me aside and just really focus on these young girls because they are actually the ones that are making the next generation. So if I could save some of them and get them out of the streets, then it was, wasn't about me.
Yes. And I totally, agree and can relate to that. But A Diary of a Pimp's Wife has been described as raw and unapologetic. That's the reviews. The memoir, it did get those reviews when I was looking it up. So, how did you navigate, the emotional challenges of writing about your personal experiences? And what impact has this process had on your own healing journey? Because it was kind of toxic, and different things like that. So I knew you had to go through a phase in your life where you had to heal in order to write a book about it. So how did it impact your healing process getting this thing out? And what do you see yourself improved, or what kind of growth did you see in yourself during that time?
I think, like you said, writing the book is a way that I was purging, and I needed a lot of prayer, and I'm still healing, and I had to get all the toxic stuff away from me because it was a lot, and I being inside it during, like, just saying, being in the trenches at the time, I didn't realize the things that I was going through. At one time I was losing my hair, and I just thought it was a hair problem, and I didn't realize I was being really stressed out, and trying to help people that didn't actually want to be helped, and trying to, I was trying to build a business. Like I said, I don't want to give away too much, but I was actually trying to build a business, and these people were just there, and they were, coming out of the woodwork, and before I knew it, I was in deeper than I wanted to be. Let's just say that.
Yeah, like, and I'm kind of glad this is out there. It deals with so many different avenues of what we're going through and what we're facing, from, gender roles to ideal relationship goals, different things like that. Like, everybody gets in their relationship and they think it's supposed to be a specific way, and what you're doing is exposing that relationships come in different forms. You're right when you were saying that, it's up to the two people of what that relationship look like. How do us as a society get away from the basic stereotypical relationship and try to put those things down and have more freer relationships? What do you say to those who are looking to get into relationships?
Um, I don't know. Like I said, this situation was to me was toxic, and I like you said, I am for more of just to one the man and the woman, not a really an open relationship, and it is much healthier than you can have children and you know that's the ideal relationship. Just unfortunately, with all the cheating out there and the side pieces and so on and so forth, a lot of that is just not what's going on today. Um, I couldn't really tell you how you should try to stay along the lines where you want to seek out the marriage and the wedding because we have so much divorce
Yeah.
today.
And that's the number one reason. A lot of people, you know what some men, because I can't blame all men, but you know what some men really blame women for divorce. And you know what's their logical? Because they supposed to be logical. You know what's the logic behind that? They're saying, oh, but it's the woman filing for divorce. But then when you look at statistics, of the reasoning why women are getting divorced, is because of infidelity. That's number one reason. And then the next thing is, um, then they say something like lack of commitment and stuff like that. So is those things which ties into infidelity. And then the next thing is communication. Because obviously somebody be lying, or
And
you feel like,
finances,
yeah, or
finances.
you feel like you can't talk to that person because and one thing Reverend said, I remember he was doing like this late night show with Tyrese like a few years ago. It wasn't long lived, but they were supposed to be having a show together talking about exploring different topics in relationships. And one thing Reverend said that I love and I still agree with to this day, he says, because men always talk about, well, men are natural born cheaters, like we want more women, and that's just a natural instinct with us. And he actually disagrees with that point, and so do I think cheating is just a testament of how old the ego is, and the ego is just as old as man. So we was dealing with his bullshit ever since man came into existence. Yes, I said it. Men, come get me. But anyway, so what he said was, if that's the case, right? If it's natural for men to cheat, then it will also be natural for women to accept it. And when you look at history, especially men who had a lot of wives, their downfall was because of a woman, because of
Mm.
the jealousy aspect of it all. She ended up either killing a wife or killing his ass, poisoning somebody, or for that jealousy aspect of sharing. So I don't know, man. I think we have to rethink relationship and get out of the ego and get into more love and stuff. Yeah. So, you know, how did your management start? Like we talk about the book and I want to get back to the book, but I think it's fascinating your work in hip hop. So how did managing artists start to begin with? Was that something you always dreamed about, or was it a life that chose you?
It seems like I'm always in a helping situation, and I was actually pulled in doing that years ago as well. I had a couple of artists, they really wanted to get into the entertainment business. And then I knew a couple of people in the business, but they didn't have the equipment and different things of that nature. So I helped them with equipment, and then I was plugging them in with the people I knew. I first started with an artist called Enough Respect Due, and we were at the time working with Mona Scott, that's now part of Love and Hip Hop, and Pudgy the Fat Bastard. So I would take my artists and we would go on tour with them and show them the ropes. Because Pudgy the Fat Bastard was actually signed to Giant Records, and Mona Scott was actually managing him then. That's when she was with Trackmasters when she initially started. So we would go on tour with them, and it would help them, my artists, find out how to, go through the ropes of the game. And that's pretty much how I started. And then from there, it just builds. And I went into parties, concerts, parties, and promotions. So I've pretty much dibbled and dabbled in every aspect of this entertainment.
Yeah, until you stumbled upon Mr. Cheeks, who, the book is also featuring. So, how did that happen? Did you be like, Mr. Cheeks, I want to write a book? Or did he be like, Karen, I want to write a book? Or what was that brainstorming time period was to come up or the Diary of a Pimp's Wife?
Well, actually, Mr. Cheeks with like I said, I started. It was about 2003. I had an artist um named Computer. He was on Select Records, and we met Mr. Cheeks. And what happened is we stopped working with Computer and kind of started working with Mr. Cheeks. Me and this the gentleman in the book, the pimp. And because at the time we were all into entertainment and music, and we still are for the most part. He's not around anymore, but Mr. Cheeks and I are still around. Um, so during this time, I was putting my, everything I was doing, I was journaling or I was documenting in a diary. So that's pretty much how the information was put together. And when it really got out of hand, like when things was getting out of hand and the lines were being blurred with this adult entertainment, I continued to write so that I could have documentation because some of the stuff was unbelievable. So I continued to write and it just formatted into a book. And how did Cheeks get in it? Because he was a part of the storyline.
Okay. Yeah. So what reading it because it deals with, a lot of toxic things, sex work, domestic violence, certain gender roles, different things like that. It deals with all that. You have to get the book, you guys. What do you want your readers to take away from it? What are some of the lessons that you really want your readers to grasp picking up this book?
One thing I would like to say is everyone likes a strip club, but no one actually wants their daughter to be a stripper, of course. So I wrote this book to help these unsuspecting victims stay away from that lifestyle. It's a very toxic community. And I'm trying to put in little factors in there to let them know exactly what happened to the young ladies in the book. And pretty much this happens to everyone. That's unless they get out. There's a lot of people that get out, but it's a dead end. And that's what I want them to take away from it. There's several strip clubs out there, and these young ladies are in there, and they think that they're on the winning end because the money's being thrown at them. And actually, like I said, they're at the bottom of the totem pole. These men are taking advantage of them. The clubs are taking advantage of them. There's actually a jewel I would like to drop that's speaking against the labor law.
Wait, your sound.
It's even against the labor law.
Wait, can you say that again?
I'll
Because
leave
your
that for
sound
part
was
two.
Can you say that again? Because your sound was going in and out.
I'm sorry. I said it's against the labor laws. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, I see something did happen to. I apologize. I'm on my phone and somebody called
No,
in.
you're
Actually,
fine.
Mr.
Just
Keith
that
Murray.
last. Oh, that was Keith Murray. Tell
Yeah.
him the most beautifulest thing.
I
And
hung up, but
I'm gonna ask you a
he
few
did
questions
affect our
about that
line.
too. Huh?
He affected our mic and our sound.
Yeah. Tell him to chill out. He's affecting the mic.
Will do. Will do.
Yeah. So okay. So I kind of want to ask you a deep question because like a lot of people who claim to be psychologists, right? They will look at this book and you know how they always be like, oh, but what happened in your childhood, right? So I'm gonna be a little therapist right now, and I kind of want to know, was there something in your childhood that allowed you to accept to a degree that lifestyle, that pimp hole lifestyle?
I can barely hear you, but I think I heard what you. Can you hear me well?
I can hear you perfectly well.
It must be him calling in. Ironically, I grew up in Hunts Point, where the young ladies walk the track. So I was always, definitely against anything that had to do with prostitution, strippers, things of that nature. So I think that God brings you two things to bring you through things, and I think that He's using me as a vessel for, in some way, to be a lesson to people. And I'd love to give While he the clock, my publisher a shout out because she's definitely made all of this happen. The book, putting it together, bringing me out. I was querying for a long time, and she saw the potential in the project, and this is how we came to the pages.
Yes. Yes, and I think it's so dope. I hope they have like a resolve as far as like, you know, did you experience any domestic violence though? And how did that make you feel watching those women be so-called degraded? Some people will say degradation. Did you ever witness domestic violence or experience domestic violence? And how did that make you feel watching women being abused?
I don't want to give away too much in the book. I didn't really talk about the fights that I had because I kept it, like I said, it was more about the women. But there is stuff in here about the women that face domestic violence. I didn't realize that I was going through domestic violence. I just thought I was fighting, because I'm a fighter. I come from the Bronx, and I was taking care of myself. But we did get into a lot of argumentative situations that got pretty heated. But to me, I didn't come out on the losing end. So, but I guess society would view that as domestic violence.
Yeah.
So
And where
yes,
do
I would
you
say yes.
where do you draw your strength from? Because you're so courageous and resilient. I see a lot of strength in you. Where do you draw your strength from, and who inspired you throughout the years?
I would say my parents. They were both very strong individuals. My mother had certain aspects she fed me, and my father helped me with the business side, and my mother helped me with the domestic side. Um, and God, I would say, she always kept me in church. And when I got away from the demon side and got rid of the demonic things that was going on, and I went back to God, then He helped me rise back up to this level again.
Yes, amen to that. And before we move on, because I kind of want to do the game where we dissect your Instagram. But before we do, is there a message you would like to say to domestic violence survivors out there?
Is there a message I want to give to who? Like I said, he messed up the mic a little bit.
I'm sorry. Is there a message that you would like to say to the domestic violence survivors out there?
Oh, um, I'm so sorry, pretty much, that you had to go through that. And I know how difficult it is, because people always say, walk away, get away from them. I do know how difficult it is sometimes to get out of those situations. The best thing I could say is in the beginning, before it gets to the levels that it do. If you see it coming, don't go, don't get in too deep before it's too hard for you to get yourself away from it. Get away from it from the beginning when you see the signs. When you see the signs, walk away. And if all I can say is I'm sorry if they had to go through that. Get yourself some help. There's a lot of organizations out there that do lend help, and they also take young ladies and get them away in programs where they can get them away. I actually have a few. I actually have one called that's in the back of the book.
Yes,
I
and
have
I'm
a
glad
few
you did that. That was
organizations that's in
real.
the book.
Yeah, and I'm glad you did that. That was real responsible of you. And I too am a domestic violence survivor. So I totally appreciate, women like you that shed light to the situation. I'm too myself and thinking about writing a book just on that period alone, just to let women know that you're not by yourself. Because what I've noticed with a lot of domestic violence survivors, all of us talk about how isolated we were. Usually your predator keeps you isolated so they could do things to you and different things like that. And not a lot of women are brave enough to tell their story. So just the fact that women are coming out there explaining their story, letting the world know that there are different avenues of abuse. It's a spectrum. People unfortunately go through it too many times, and I salute you for being courageous enough to tell your story so that you can let other women know that they're not by themselves. And when people think like, oh, I'm the only person that's going through this, no, you're really not. There's a lot of strong women women who survive these things and actually giving back to the community. And you're basically one of them. And I salute you on that.
Thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. And likewise.
Yeah. So we're gonna get to the fun part, right? Let's get to it. Hold on, let me share my screen because you got some explaining to do. I want it up. Oh, we going back because we going back. Okay, so that's you and Mr. Chicks, but hold up. I had some other pictures I wanted to start off with, and it's just clicking on by itself. Hold on. Let's get to it. All right, so it was happy birthday, Mr. Cheeks, and we see Mr. Cheeks in the building. Oh, it's a video. All right, so can you explain that first picture?
That first slide is actually when we first met. The one with the group picture, not this one. The other one is when they were all youngsters. We were all youngsters, and that's actually the first maybe month or so we met. The first slide where you saw the group of us, that one right there. You see Cheeks, you see the Pimp, you see all of us together, me on that side. My artist computer was in there. Yeah, that's when they did the song Itty Bitty Hustlers, and we took them out to the Freaknik in Pennsylvania, and they were supposed to perform. So yeah, that was the very beginning.
Okay, we got to talk about the Freaknik, gosh darn it. We got to talk about that. First of all, are we going to see you by any chance? Because, that's the thing. They're saying that a lot of the people who were in Freaknik are worried about being on some of the footage that's going to come out. Are you worried?
No, this book was my most tainted situation. Prior to that, everything else was a clean slate. That's why a lot of my friends are really surprised at this document that came out.
So you wasn't popping it like it's hot in Freaknik back in '94 or none of that wasn't you?
No, most of the time with the Freakniks, there was always a show where you had the artist, and I was always managing the artists and getting them on stage and trying to direct them, to the next event and so on and so forth. No, that never was really my lifestyle. Like I said, this is really out of character for me.
Okay, so before we move on to the next picture, and since we're still on Freaknik, because I love the stories. Shout out to Clubhouse. I've been hearing a lot of stories from a lot of people that were there, and it sounds awesome. Freaknik and the tunnel are two things in my lifetime that happened that I'm mad I missed because I was too young. So even though you didn't partake in the debauchery, is there a great dope story about Freaknik you could share with us?
About Freaknik?
Yep.
Like I said, not that I really remember. I did see a lot of stuff, but I was so busy trying to make sure that whoever's invested in the program or invested in the musical part, they were getting their, the return on their investment. So there was a lot of stuff where the guys were young. The girls would have bikinis. They might, take off their bikini top and run, little silly stuff like that. That's pretty much the most I could see. Girls would have bikini tops on. They were getting the beach water, and they would take their tops off and stuff like, little silly stuff, kid stuff.
Yes, but I know it wasn't silly. It was beautifully ratchet. Like I said, I wish I was there. But, I like a little ratchet. I think a good balance of ratchet and righteousness is a perfect combination. So shout out to all the OGs that was at Freaknik right now, biting their nails, worried that their grandkids is going to see them freaking off and be a big booty hole. But I'm proud of you guys. I'm happy for you. Shout out to Freaknik, Jermaine Dupri, and Uncle Luke for the documentary that's coming out. I cannot wait to see the ratchetness. I love it. But yeah, on to the next pick. Grand Puba. Yes. Let's talk about it.
That particular picture was taken most recently at Rock the Bells. That was a nice affair out in Queens last year, actually. Yeah, I've seen Poop on a couple of occasions. He's a really talented artist.
Did you ever work with him, or would you like to?
Well, we did a booking or two. Like I said, I also booked for promoters. So I think I got him a show one time in Connecticut. But other than that, as long as I get the bag, he gets his bag. He does a good show. He shows up, then everything is fine. I
Yes,
started, later on making money in the game.
yes. Okay, Jim Jones and Joel Santana. Yes. So let's talk about when you guys first met. Did y'all ever work with each other? And what was this picture about?
Well, actually, Jim Jones' mother and I are on the same, as you would call it, label. We both work with Wahida Clock. She put out a book as well, Jim Jones' mom. So
Yeah.
that's what I was discussing with him in that picture. And then we just turned around and posed for the photographer. But
Okay.
that's what we was talking about. That was actually at Rock the Bells as well. I just looked a little different there.
Yes. Yeah, so we got people enjoying your book. Yes, him. I met him at Bismarcky's funeral, and I love what he's doing. Council member do it all. So, do you think hip hop will be successful in politics?
I think that he's doing a pretty good job. Everybody's not really cut out for it. He's more reserved, and he grew up. A lot of the people his age, sadly, still think that they're back in the day, and they haven't advanced much from their 20s. They're still doing the same things, but he's cleaned up pretty nicely. I actually got a picture from him on my page from way back in the day. I met him in the beginning of his career. He looked much different, but yeah, he's a stand-up gentleman, and he's doing a lot for the community. I'm proud of him.
Yeah, for New Jersey. Shout out to New Jersey. When I met him, like I said, unfortunately, I hate the fact that we met each other at Bismarcky's funeral. And shout out to Bismarcky. He just had a birthday. But yeah, and I think you know what I think. I wish hip hop OGs will become teachers and politicians. I think they will make awesome, not just professors in the university, but also work with young kids as well in early development. I think that's like the missing link. I think these artists and these legends should still put out music, and even the younger artists still put out music, but at the same time, I guess volunteer at a public school somewhere or work there as a teacher and teach English or arts or something. I think that will be make a real impact with the younger generation. What you think about that?
That's Mr. Dupree, Kelly Dupree,
Yes.
Lords of the Underground.
Yes. Okay, so we see you with Keith Murray. So can you tell us how you guys met and what's going on now?
He's Keith Murray. Mr. Keith Murray. The good thing about Keith is we both live out here on the island, and the people that I was working with out on the island that was producers, and like I said, was in the management aspect of the game at the time. They grew up with Keith Murray, so it's all like family out here. That's one good thing that I could say about Long Island and the artists that are out here. When you meet them, you actually, you go to picnics, family things with them, and it's different than when you meet the artists in the city. It's all business. You're going into offices, pretty much they go to their homes and you go to your home. But out here, everybody kind of goes to each other's home. So I would say like Keith is more like family now. I know him for not as long as Cheeks, but we grew a lot closer, I would say.
Now, recently, a lot of he's been more in the media. Some people say he's saying some outrageous stuff. I think is dope. Like I love to see the human side of a person. But where do you think that coming from? I guess this is like a new personality. I don't know if it's a new personality, but this is the first time a lot of people are seeing this side of his personality. What are you saying to that? Is this is really him, or he's doing it for TV or media?
I think Keith is pretty smart. Uh, you know, a lot of people reinvent themselves through their music. They're lucky enough to do that, like Fat Joe and so on and so forth. He's able to make records that are on the radio now and still, you know, still going platinum and so on and so forth. Well, Keith found a way to make himself relevant and go viral through these podcasts. So he's doing stuff for a shock value and to keep himself, you know, for the lack of a better term, relevant, so that he still can economically that's him texting me. I hope he doesn't call again, because he really messed up our mic with the calling.
Dag, I'm so sorry.
You see me leading all in, or you can see my glasses.
I'm not gonna hold you too long because it sounds like it's important. So I'm gonna let you get back to Keith Murray. Keith Murray, if you watching, relax. Don't you see I'm talking to the lady? Come here. Let me
That's
finish.
right.
I'm almost done, Keith. Yes. So we're gonna do 2 more pictures, and you know we're gonna do the ending of the book, and then you can have a Keith. Okay. All right. So who is in this picture right here? Funk Flex. Can we talk about? And I just finished saying that another event in life that I missed, that I was alive for, was the tunnel. So can you talk about how did you meet Funk Master Flex, and were you there at the tunnel?
I was at the tunnel many a times. The most shocking thing for me at the tunnel was they had unisex bathrooms, which they have today. But back then it was really weird seeing men walking to the urinal, you know, to their urinal with you right there. So I used to have to, you know, try to not go to the bathroom when I was at the tunnel. But I went to most of the shows. And at the time, back then, that picture is really dated. Maybe circa 1993. And I was working with the Big Dog Pit Bulls, and rest in peace to Big Cat. He was doing a lot of he was doing a lot of shows with me. Or back then I was a promoter for concerts and parties, and the Big Dog Pit Bulls would come out and do my parties, and a lot of people would come out. So that's how I got involved with Flex and his team.
Yes. And those unisex bathrooms, I heard a lot of stories, spicy stories about the goddamn bathrooms. I hope they in the documentary, because I heard Funk Flex is working on the tunnel documentary as well. So I can't wait for that. But I heard there was a lot of stories. And I heard Queensbridge was the reason the tunnel got shut down. I don't know if that's true, but that's the word around town. It was because of these Queensbridge niggas. Shout out to Queensbridge in the building. But yes, so, you know, is there anyone that you wish you could have worked with or met in the industry that you just didn't get to yet?
What I do wish is that we were able to do better business together, because what I do see with other communities, they're able to come together and develop a relationship, build their corporations, and rise together. With us, it's always a competitive thing, and it's not like I didn't meet almost everybody in the industry. There's pretty much nobody I didn't meet. It's just that I wasn't able to connect with them and actually grow with them. Everybody, sadly, our people are crabs in the barrel, and it's still competition. When you reach out to them, they're still trying to, you know, make their way up the ladder, where they just don't have time for you. They don't really know that strength is in unity. So I'm just glad I met Miss Wahida Clark, and she is the beginning of what I, you know, want to build my career on now, and that's writing these books, and hopefully we can turn them into some movies and get into this media thing. And thank you, Miss Clark, again.
Yes, because I can act, you know,
in this industry.
Yeah, because I can act. I would love to, you know, play a role in those movies. Let's get it. Yes, big things 2023. Okay, so last but not least, Tretch. Can you tell us? You got quite a few pictures with Tretch on your Instagram. Can you tell us how you guys met and what was that relationship like throughout the years?
Well, actually, Clutch is a good friend of Cheeks. So whenever Cheeks has an affair or an event, that's when I bump into Trek. But I did go to his I did go to his house one time. He had a private Fourth of July party, which was compliments of Cheeks. He and Cheeks are very close, and then like I said, I did a lot of business with Cheeks, so that's most of the time when he and I interact. But he's a real nice, down to earth guy. He's definitely not diva-ish like a lot of them are, and he has a lot to be a diva for because he's very successful. As you can see, he's into
And a
TV and
legend.
film now. He's
Cheeks is a
recreated
legend
himself
too,
in
but
his career, and I'm proud of the work he's done. He's been able to maintain and grow because a lot of them fall off at they're not making the same money, but he's been able to elevate him, Fat Joe. You know, it's a few of them that's doing pretty good in their careers.
yeah, he just did a movie. He just did a movie. I forgot the name of the movie, but I watch it where he's fighting. He got into something. He trained the dude from jail. He was in owed some dude money, and they was crazy. So he went to go save his daughter, had to fight till he died. It's an outrageous movie that just came out. I kind of want to, I would love to sit there and talk to him about that movie. So, and yeah, and they just did the Salt and Pepper Lifetime thing. So, shout out to Tretch and, everything that he's been doing. This is not the only movie in the other one. Since we was talking about Queensbridge, Dag, I forgot the name of the movie, but it was about gangs. And I think Tobias is in there too, where the cops got into like the gang and got shot by the gang member. But he's in movies now, and he's been in movies, but to see him still do it, it's almost like a Fredro Starr type of situation, how Fredro Starr is able to continue to do music as well as be in movies and always reinvent himself to be in the limelight. I think Tretch has that mathematical equation as well to stay relevant in the public eye. As a manager, what advice do you give to artists to stay relevant and have longevity in their career?
Like I said, you have to continue to reinvent yourself. You have to, just like in any other business, you have to look to elevate. You have to look to technology and the things that's coming into effect. Like right now, we're up against AI. So people that are that any industry need to start working on that, start educating themselves about how to stay relevant and how to expand on their business. So, because things are ever changing, and that's what you have to do. You have to change with it. A lot of the older rappers, they want to rap the same way, and they want to do things the same way, and they want to look down upon, the new rappers and the new artistry, and you really can't do that. You have to join it.
So I'm glad you brought up AI because, I try to be the equalizer when it comes to that. While everybody's trying to run to this new technology, I'm trying to give people, my stance is to give people the heads up, because I feel like the more we contribute to artificial intelligence, the more we're going to see an end to a lot of industries and might be including rap. Do you think AI would take over hip hop or the music industry?
If anything, it's going to elevate it. I really think that rap is here to stay. Like I said, considering it's a multi-billion-dollar business, some kind of way it's going to integrate and it's going to work together, and hopefully it'll make more of them billionaires. If not just Jay-Z will or Dr. Dre will be in that field. And hopefully it'll bring more of them to the forefront. I don't really see it going anywhere. I just see it like I said, changing and evolving.
But do you think AI will come up with iller lyrics than real rappers today, real human rappers?
Yeah, I saw something on TMZ where they just tried to duplicate Drake.
Yeah, and they
you mean
playing
as far as
Rihanna's
putting the
bass.
words together and rhyming? And no, because I think that people are the ones that are making these people successful. and they're still going to want to have a fan base. And nobody really wants to be a fan of a robot. So it's not just about their talent. It's also about following them and their lifestyles and who they are and their swag and things of that nature. And I don't think a robot will be able to replace that.
Yes, yes. I kind of agree, but I don't know. I used to have faith in humanity, but these days it's questionable the way people be giving it up these days. So I don't know. That is still left to remain to be seen. But yeah, we're about to wrap up this interview, and it was definitely amazing. You know, I feel a lot of strength coming from you, and I'm so proud of you that you too are reinventing yourself and finding new ways and avenues to dominate the hip hop culture and this industry. What do you say to those coming in the game, whether they want to be managers, artists, or simply entertainers, or even authors? And what do you say to them in this business? Can you give them 3 different levels of encouragement and inspiration?
Don't quit. Definitely follow your dreams, because I believe in dreamers. Um, Now you don't have to be so dependent on someone to elevate you. There's with modern technology, it's cut out a lot of the it cut out a lot of the middlemen, so you can go straight to your fan base now. So just stay strong, believe in yourself, and keep up the hard work, and you'll get there.
Yes, yes. And anything else, any last words from you personally that you would like to get out there outside of the industry?
Yes, I want to make sure that this book, Diary of a Pimp's Wife, numbers go way up. So I need everyone. Did you throw that up for me? Thank you. I want to
Yeah.
make sure everyone goes out and gets a copy, because everyone knows a young lady in that lifestyle, or one that's thinking about getting in that lifestyle. And we want to save these young ladies, or at least we want to educate them before they get there. So make sure you go out and get it. There's a piece of knowledge in there for everyone. Even if you think you're not a part of it, you are.
Yes. Yes, and I want to thank you so much for pulling up to Live at Radio. Please, everybody, go follow. Tell everybody how they can follow you on Instagram and everything like that.
You can follow me on Facebook, Karen Joy. You can follow me on Instagram at pineapple underscore dreams with a Z 01. And stay tuned, because I'll be posting a lot of stuff about my journey and where we're going from here. And just watch for us in the future. Me and my team are doing big things.
Yes, and please, you guys, get a Diary of a Pimp's Wife. I hope I was trying to dive deep, and I hope she answered the questions for you, but I couldn't say too much without giving the book away, and I really don't want to do that. You know, it's domestic violence, partnership, romance, toxicness, abuse. It's all their entertainment business. It's all there for you. I'm going to finish the book. I'm almost halfway. I encourage everybody to please go get this book. It's a dope read. You really have to really go there. And maybe after a while, I can invite you back and we can really dissect the book, because you're talking about a part 2. So when that part 2 come out there, we need to have you back so we can dissect part 1 to get ready for the get people ready for part 2, and we can really do the damn thing. But I truly appreciate you coming to the platform, and I salute you, and I want to see more works from your clients and everything else. You can hear
Was
me?
that a question? Because I can barely hear you
No, it
now.
wasn't a question. I was saluting you. I was saluting you.
Yes, thank you. And I'm very proud of what you did.
Yeah,
And
so
thank you for allowing me on your platform and giving me a voice to reach out to other individuals and sharing your audience with me. I really appreciate that. It's hard. And, like I said, we got to stick together as a people. And thank you.
yes. Yes, we definitely got to stick together. And this is not going to be the first or last time you're going to be on Live at Radio. We definitely have to have you again as more greatness unfolds. So have a good night, and I really appreciate you.
You have a good night as well. And thank you for having me.
Yes, salute.
Bye-bye.
Yes, you guys. Yes, another dope interview in the bag with Miss Karen Joy. Definitely in the building. Please, you guys, get A Diary of a Pimp's Wife. She is the author. And as you can see, she is definitely a hip hop celebrity manager. You saw how Keith Murray was hating on our interview, kept calling, messing up the mic, all of that. Come on, Keith. Don't do me like that, goddammit. Don't do me like that. Yeah, but it was an amazing. Please definitely go do it, and shout out to all the domestic violence survivors, and shout out to all the women out there in the adult entertainment game. You are not alone. Your journey is very important. It can inspire the next generation to make smarter decisions. Even if they're going to be in that life, they can move smarter and maneuver this thing so they can really win and be on top, because this industry, a lot of people don't respect it. I understand, but we have to open our minds to ideas. And if you're so mad about the industry, stop participating in it. Stop creating avenues for this type of lifestyle to be successful. If you want to truly live righteously, you can't be on both sides of the fence. You got to pick one. But anyway, shout out to everybody that was streaming this in. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, and hit that notification bell. And if you listen to this on our streaming platform services, let me know what you think. Comment below. Let me know what you think about Karen Joy and the book. If you read the book, definitely let me know what you think about the book. Maybe one day we could do a book reaction and we could come up there and give our true, honest thoughts about Diary of a Pimp's Wife. Ladies and gentlemen, Karen Joy featuring Mr. Cheeks, definitely in the building. And hopefully we could get Mr. Cheeks up in here and he could talk about this book as well. And definitely Keith Murray, because I got to ask him, what the fuck is wrong with you? Don't be interrupting Karen like that. Until next time, y'all. Much love and respect.
Thank you for watching. Like, comment, and share. But most importantly, subscribe and hit that notification bell. ChaChaLive.media. Let's get it.